Greetings Terrarians, Khaios here. Welcome to the channel's 1000 subscriber special. I wanted to thank each and every one of you for sticking around, spreading the word, and helping me grow this channel to the point that it's at. I can barely believe that it's been just under 7 months since I've started posting content, and man, time is really flying by fast. I wanted to get this video out over the weekend, but a power outage had other plans in store, and for anyone who's wondered why I haven't been posting in about 2 weeks now, I've had to take some time off to focus on some things that were going on, including a final for an online class I've been taking, as well as finishing up another project I've been working on that's unrelated to any of this. But my schedule is looking a lot more normal starting this week, so it's time to start turning out content again. I'm shooting for 3 episodes a week. Might only hit 2 this week because of that power outage. Kind of threw a wrench into my plans. Had to redo a build after 4 hours of building. But I think I will be on track next week for sure. Thank you all for your patience and support. I really do appreciate it. So I thought I'd talk about myself and Terraria and my relationship with Terraria a little bit for this special. I started playing Terraria seriously in update 1.2, though I wasn't really involved in the community. I spent a year or 2 lurking in Terraria Online and later in the Terraria community forums, never really interacting and definitely not posting any of my builds. Then one day my wife made an observation that I play Terraria a lot and that I build a lot, but I'm not doing anything with the builds, and she inquired why and convinced me to start posting on the Terraria community forums. I was hesitant at first. There were so many good Terraria builders, and my skills were definitely nowhere near those people. I didn't want to post a build and have it get made fun of or highly critiqued, and I had a bad experience with Minecraft previously, and I just didn't want to relive that. But eventually I decided to go ahead and post, and I took a compilation of a bunch of screenshots that I made for a large castle build that I'd been using in the playthrough of Terraria I was doing at the time. And to my surprise, the feedback was very, very positive. So I followed that up with a truffle house, which was a lot smaller, but also well received. And then I built a Yin Yang Corruption Hollow biosphere for my first creation compendium entry. I never would have imagined that I'd end up hosting it later down the road, but that's another story. And I even entered into the Halloween competition on the forums and lost. But I was loving building in Terraria more and more. I even got to the point where I felt confident enough to start taking build requests. One of the requests that I got was for a castle in the sky. Truth be told, I don't even know if the person who made the request ever saw the final product. It took me probably around 6 months to complete the build, and by the time I had, they weren't even active on the community anymore, so I don't know if they ever actually got to see it. I did post the build, which I had titled Castle in the Clouds, in the Creation Compendium, and it was the first time anyone from Relogic publicly recognized and complimented one of my builds. It was like a really, really good feeling, and just kind of started making me want to post even more. I shared the build on Reddit, and I shared it on Steam, and it quickly became my most popular build. And it is that build that kind of put me on the community's radar as a builder. And that was just over 4 years ago, and still to this day I get people asking me for a version or a copy of the world save for the Castle in the Clouds. Not that long ago, I lost all of my 1.2 builds, and so I had to remove the Castle in the Clouds download link from the Terraria community forums. That's when I started getting a lot of people asking, hey, where's the download? Where's the download link? And I had to tell them it doesn't exist anymore. And that's when I told myself that for my 1000 subscriber special, that I was going to rebuild the Castle in the Clouds, since it was kind of the build that put me on the map. Since then, however, the legendary Fury Forged has sent me an archive containing all of the worlds that I had lost. He had downloaded them because I had made them available on the forums, and he had them on his hard drive backed up. So, thanks to him, the Castle in the Clouds is available again for download. If you want to check it out for yourself, you will find a link in the description box below. Even though the build is no longer lost, I still thought it'd be a nice sentiment to do a rebuild of the Castle in the Clouds for this 1,000 subscriber special. So that's exactly what I'm doing on screen. If you're wondering why my character's moving faster than usual, it's because I usually limit my time-lapse builds to 3 hours or under. But for this one, it took me over 6 hours to complete. I had to take some liberties with the design. It's roughly half the size of the original Castle in the Clouds, and it's definitely not an exact replica. I just wanted to take elements of the original build and re-envision them using building techniques that I've picked up over the past few years and make a new version, a more modern version, a more current version. Most importantly, I didn't want to spend 6 months doing this build, and yes, I build a lot faster than I used to, but I still didn't want to take too long, so I had to downscale it a little bit. So while 3 hours was my target for this build, I was happy to settle for a 6-hour build session to get it looking as good as I could for you all. Not every element of the old version made it into this new one, but the overall shape and design is highly inspired by the original. While I'm very pleased with how it turned out, I'm not sure I'm necessarily done with it. Building this today really brought me back to those early days and how much fun it was building the original and posting updates on the community and just getting feedback. I just really enjoyed it. It also reminded me of how slow a builder I was back then. If 4 years ago you told me that I'd be doing the same build again in around a day, I probably would have laughed you out. So while this version of the Castle in the Clouds draws heavily from the original as inspiration, the material choices are widely different, as I'm sure you can tell. Not only have I learned a lot about building in the 4 years since I've completed the castle, but we've had some pretty substantial updates to drop, including 1.3, which added a ton of materials to build with. The original version of the castle used stone slab exclusively as the building material for the walls, the floor, the ceilings, and it had some ice brick as colorful accent points. It was a much simpler time for me where I was really stuck using a lot fewer kinds of materials and not blending my materials as much as I do today. The version I'm working on right now still has stone slab in it, but I combine it with sandstone slab that's been painted white as well for the floors and the ceilings, as well as some accent points on the corners of the rooms. The walls are made out of ebonstone brick and palladium column blends. The background walls are almost nothing like the original. I do still have some silver brick, but they're not bordering the edges of the room, they're only bordering windows. The windows are still made out of the same lead fence. I would like to use the iron fence just because it would look better, but again, the bug that's currently in the game where you can't use iron fence as a valid house wall, that's preventing my design choice. But the background walls are much different. I'm using ebonstone brick painted white now for accent points, and I'm also using blue tiled wall painted white for the majority of the background walls. Instead of using ice brick as the colorful accent, I've decided to use crystal block with cyan paint, as I feel it pops out more and it just looks a little bit better as the build is a little bit darker with my current material choices. The new version of the castle also incorporates grass, dirt, and sandstone to make it look more like the clouds are holding up pockets of earth. rather than the castle in the trees sprouting out of just the clouds. Speaking of clouds, this build has a lot less than the original, and it has a lot less trees as well. I'm considering revisiting it later and adding more onto it until it's roughly the same size as the original, but as I said before, I had to limit my plans somewhat due to time constraint. If I went any longer than 6 hours, I'd be worried that you wouldn't really be able to see what's going on screen. It would just look like a blur, and that's not really what I'm after for the video. I also went really minimalistic with the furniture this time around, partly due to that time constraint, but also because I've seen how much the original Castle in the Clouds was and still is used by others within the community, and I wanted to leave rooms fairly empty so that you all can download and use this world and use the buildings in it as you see fit. And that brings us to the conclusion of this special. I hope you all enjoyed the rebuilding of the Castle in the Clouds. Again, there is a download link in the description below, so if you'd like to check out either this one or the original, feel free. Thank you all very much for your continued support as this channel continues to grow. I really look forward to hitting 2K with you guys. All of you really make this work worthwhile. Your comments, your feedback, your suggestions, your requests, I love it all. Thank you all very much. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the 1K special, be sure to leave a like and let me know in the comments what you guys would like to see for the next milestone special. I'll catch you all later. Happy building.